This podcast replay is brought to you by AccidentLawFirm.com. For truck, motorcycle, and rideshare accidents, call Bobby Nunez, 305-444-4407. AccidentLawFirm.com.
Manny Navarro, he's going to help us get to the finish line. He, of course, joins us every week here for our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. And, of course, they're at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Go to caneswear.com. Go see Brett and all the amazing people out there. They do have Marlins, Dolphins, Panthers, Inter Miami, Miami Heat stuff. So they got it all there at Caneswear. Go see Brett and tell him that Big O sent you. Follow them on Twitter at Canes_wear. Follow Manny at Manny_Navarro. Manny, good afternoon, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm driving here on I-95 from New York City up into Connecticut. Going to go visit with a Cane football recruit here in a little while.
Nice. All right. Good stuff. So we'll be reading about it in, I would imagine, the next 24, 48 hours or something like that. Correct?
Right. Well, I have a couple stories. There's a couple, recruits up in this area. So a couple things that I was working on. One of them I'll be saving for our for the athletics big recruiting day blowout, which will be next week. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to zero in on recruiting here during these 2 weeks leading up to signing day, the early signing period on December 18th.
Has Manny been able to keep this recruiting class together after another disappointing loss?
Yeah, I mean, he really has, and I think a lot of it just has to do with the kids. I think the kids themselves, they have this little, message group that they have together, this chat group. I don't know if it's on WhatsApp or if it's on text message or what, but essentially, these kids have been, becoming friends over the year and really, check in with each other, really support each other. And, I talked to one of the guys last night who basically said, I really believe in what Manny's doing, and I really believe that we're going to come in and be the difference. So, even while the team has struggled to a 6-6 season, I think the recruits themselves, the guys that have been the long-time hardcore commits, they really want to be a part of Miami, and Manny Diaz needs it. He needs it badly, and the program needs it badly.
How many players have gotten better under this coaching staff that you say from last year to this year have turned the corner? In other words,
you'd have to go position by position, but. Obviously, when you look at a 6-6 record and you say they were 7-6 last year, it doesn't feel like anybody's really gotten better. But I think you have to look a little deeper than that. I think those offensive linemen, you look at where Zion Nelson was at the beginning of the year, he has gotten better. Even if he's still giving up sacks, even if he's still getting beat on plays, it's not nearly what it was before. Same thing with Ja'Kai Clark, another true freshman. Those kids shouldn't be playing their freshman year, but they go out there because there's nobody else, and people may not see it. They may say, well, you just gave up 9 sacks and 33 pressures, but those kids are basically being thrown to the wolves, and in the grand scheme of things, they are going to get better, and they have improved. I would say there's other guys. Certainly, I think Brevin Jordan this year, before he got hurt, was improving a lot as a blocker. You look at the tight end position. I thought Will Mallory started to improve as the season went on. The receiver position, D. Wiggins took a few steps forward. I know he was in the witness protection program the last 2 weeks, but before that, against Louisville and FSU, he'd been playing well. So there's examples on offense, and there's examples on defense. I think certainly Gregory Rousseau, as the season went on, was better and better and better. I think in the secondary, Gervin Hall had a good season by his standards of being a sophomore, first-year starter. I thought that kid improved. There were plays that he made that he wasn't making in the beginning of the year. So there's improvements, but in the end, I don't think anybody will sit there and say this team is better because the record says it's 6-6.
Right, and that was going to lead to my follow-up. These kids that think they're going to be the difference makers, I don't know if they have the difference makers as coaches. So I don't know if those kids are going to reach their potential, because I'm not sure everybody's reached their potential here. That's currently right now. And I've had some fun with it where I've used the Dolphins as an example that I can, with Flores, I can point at specific players that are clearly getting better under Flores. I can see a team that's gotten better from day one till now. They are a much better football team. I have not seen that from Manny. That's my problem with Manny. I can't say from day one to right now you're a better football team. I saw the same football team the entire season.
Yeah. Well, I disagree a little bit, because I think during that 3-game winning streak, there was progress made. I just think everything that you felt good about after the Louisville win and after beating Florida State, it went out the window the moment they lost to FIU.
Right.
And it's hard to see. It's hard to see past that because it's sort of inexplicable. It's like, teams don't normally do this. You don't start to all of a sudden. You don't have a quarterback like Jaron Williams throw 6 touchdowns, and then all of a sudden, look as horrible as he did against FIU, and then, to follow it up with a bad performance at Duke. It's kind of like, I don't know, you don't really see that in sports very often. It's like when kids start to figure it out, the momentum sort of carries, and even if they don't win a game, you don't see them take as big a step back. So I think that's the thing that's sort of puzzling here, is why it is that this team took such a huge step back in these last 2 games. I know personally for me, I feel like it begins and ends with leadership, and I know you could point to the coaches, and I'm certainly not putting all the blame on the players here when I say this, but I stood there for the last 5 minutes of the Duke game behind the Miami Hurricanes bench, okay, and I just observed. I wanted to see who cared, who was showing emotion that they were about to lose to Duke for the 2nd year in a row, and the only kid who was out there crying and pissed off was Nesta Silvera. A lot of the other guys, I watched them, N'Kosi Perry, Cam Harris, they were in conversation. There was no sort of like, at least to me, my eyeballs, watching them, watching their body language, watching them interact, it was like, we lost to Duke again. And it's like, to me, what's really missing from this team are the alpha males that this program once had. Not just the great players, but the alpha males who would put the foot in the ass of their teammates the moment they saw any sort of negative body language. I think that's what this team was badly missing this season. Jaron Williams, at quarterback, he's supposed to be your leader, but that kid is still a redshirt freshman, and I don't see those necessary leadership qualities that you need out of that position. The only guys who I think I really saw be vocal, interact, sort of lead the pack constantly were guys like DJ Dallas. And DJ was out for that game. He was out for the FIU game.
But the freshman you just talked about, who recruited him?
Who, Jaron Williams?
No, the freshman you just talked about that you said that
these are Manny Diaz's guys. Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's no doubt. But I feel like while it's easy to sort of be upset with Manny because he should have never lost these last 2 games. I feel like you also still have to give him a chance to fix the offense. And if he stands on his hands and he does nothing, he doesn't fire any coaches, he doesn't change anything in the offensive staff, then I think you can really jump down his throat. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give him an opportunity here after signing day to see what he does, to see if he takes action, to see what kind of changes he makes, and if certain kids start to get run off the roster, because I think that's what he needs to do. I think he needs to run a few kids off that, to me, create this atmosphere of we're losing is acceptable. I think I want to see more guys crying. I want to see more guys upset and pissed off when things don't go right. And I don't see that right now.
So you're saying there's a bunch of Hassan Whitesides because since the Heat got rid of Hassan Whiteside, they've got a better locker room. Is that what you're telling me? That the Hassan Whiteside disease is all over the Canes locker room?
Well, I certainly think it's a problem. And I don't know. I mean, listen, I covered Hassan Whiteside for 3 years. Hassan was a complete head case. What I see here I don't see the alpha males, man. I don't see the dudes who grab, their teammates by the neck and keep them in line. Like, I don't see enough of that. I think a lot of that went out the door when Jaquan Johnson and Sheldrick Redwine left. Those guys did that kind of stuff, And it was weird. I mean, you look at KJ Osborne. He's a newcomer. Yeah, he's going to lead the receiver room. but it's different. They needed more vocal guys on this team this year to not allow the things that happened to happen. I mean, there was no excuse for the effort against FIU. There's no reason to come out and play with no emotion and no passion against FIU. Like, that's why you lost that game, because you came out and you decided you didn't want to play that night. I mean, you can't be that way. This team needs alpha males. And I'm not saying the answer is in the 2020 class, but I can certainly tell you that talking to a lot of the guys who have been committed to this program for a while, a lot of those guys sound like Manny Diaz. Like, literally, when you talk to them, the things that they talk about and this vision and we're going to be the difference and yada, 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 things that it sounds like coach speak out of Manny, it feels to me like they really believe all of that stuff and that they're going to be different than the group. Now, obviously, a lot remains to be seen. They've got to prove all that. But I'm telling you, just from advertising and just from talking to them and hearing what comes out of their mouth and what they believe, I really think that these kids think that they're going to be the difference.
Well, the question is Manny the right guy to find those alpha dogs? Can he bring those alpha dogs here? And then the follow-up to that is, why would an alpha dog want to come here after what's been going on for 15 plus years? And look, I'm not saying that they don't and they shouldn't and all that. I want them to be here. I want them to come here. I want the Canes to get back to, being relevant again. But because of what's gone on, what's the track record to say that that's going to happen?
Right. Well, I mean, I think the only thing Manny has to stand on is that he fixed the defense. Right? He made the defense better. Those guys, even this year, after losing guys in the secondary, they were still putting up quality numbers in terms of tackles for loss, sacks. Yes, they gave up some plays they shouldn't have. I'm not absolving him of that blame. They certainly had some lapses where you felt like, man, what the hell are they doing on 4th and 17 in North Carolina? Or why the hell, are they letting Duke score on a 49-yard pass in the rain when it's easy for guys to slip down? Certainly some questionable decisions on defense. But I will say this. I feel like Manny's track record as far as building the defense, bringing in good players, there's some good players on this defense. I think a lot of them were just young this season, hadn't played a whole lot. We're filling in for guys that had left after playing for 2 or 3 years. And, I think next year you're definitely going to see a jump up in the level of play and performance because they did get to redshirt some guys on that defense. So I think that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. Those guys weren't thrown to the wolves. They were developed. And so I think the defense is certainly going to be better next year. But, again, you're right. As a head coach, what does Manny have to stand on? This first year was a failure. They took a step back on offense, and the quarterback position, while it felt like it was going to be resolved by Jaron Williams, you certainly have to sit there and say to yourself, man, what the hell happened those last 2 weeks? And, we'll see. We'll see if maybe Jaron Williams just isn't the guy to be the quarterback here. Let's not forget, not only was he hurt at a middle point of the season, but he walked away from his teammates, right?
Yes,
he was upset. Yes. He walked out of a practice. So,
and suspended last year, too. So, remember.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And Tyler Van Dyke is going to be the first quarterback that Dan Enos really recruits besides Peyton Matoka. Peyton Matoka was like a last-minute addition because he just needed to sort of add an arm. He's not as highly rated. This Tyler Van Dyke kid, who I'm going to go see now, he's a 4-star, legit, top 10 national quarterback. So let's see. Maybe he's the kid that's going to come in here and be the quarterback of the future. Maybe it's not Jaron Williams.
Let me ask you something, Manny. Manny Navarro, of course, with our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report. Follow Caneswear at Canes_wear at 2511 South University Drive. And, of course, you can follow my man Manny Navarro on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny Diaz kept harping on the effort of his players against Duke. And I got to tell you something, I have a problem with that because when you're more talented than Georgia Tech and you're more talented than Duke and you're more talented than FIU and you lose those games, effort has to be a part of it. Execution has to be a part of it. There is no reason or no way I could ever be happy with any kind of effort when you lose to a lesser team. That's like the big three, which I believe you covered, right? I think you were the beat guy, right? When they would lose a game to the Sixers or the Celtics or a really bad team, you would sit back going, come on, guys, what the hell are you doing? And by the way, it's happened several times over the years with different Heat teams, except this new Heat team now. This new Heat team actually beats the teams they're supposed to beat. But as I digress here, I don't know how he can continue to brag about the effort. Brother, the effort wasn't good enough against Duke and FIU. That's why you lost.
Right. Well, I think this is the part of Manny Diaz that comes out that's the son of a politician, right? I think, look, Miami really looked bad against FIU.
That's a good one.
The worst thing that you can be questioned is effort, right?
Yes.
Hey, we didn't play with the kind of effort. That's like the cardinal sin. If you don't show up and put effort, that's the cardinal sin.
Yes.
I think Manny Diaz was trying to say, look, we played hard, but we still sucked.
Right.
Okay. And I think there is something to that in terms of trying to like just build morale and then also send the message to the public that, look, I can still get these guys to show up and play. Whether or not it was true or not, I don't know. But I think that's the politician, the Manny Diaz, saying, yeah, I probably shouldn't come out and question my team's effort because that's really more of a poor reflection on me not being able to get these guys to be up for a football game. So to me, I think that's why he said a lot of the things that he said as far as effort is concerned. Look, in the end, Manny Diaz right now is pleading to recruits, please come to Miami, please help us resolve because the players here aren't good enough to help us win. In his estimation, at least on the offensive side of the football. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Oh, I just know this. I know the guy cares. Okay, I know Manny Diaz cares. And he's really trying, and let's see what happens. Let's see if he makes some changes to the coaching staff. Let's see if he goes into Dan Enos' office and tells him, look, you need to change this RPO nonsense that is completely ineffective. You need to change some of these elements on our offensive game that embarrassed us against FIU and against Duke to end the season. And we'll see. We'll see if there's any changes that are made. But I'm not ready to judge him completely yet because this signing class has to be finalized, and we have to see how they finish.
No, listen, I'm good with giving him another year just to see if this was an aberration. Plus, I want to see how good he is in correcting all these issues. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm good with that, but I'm not going to hold back and give him a pass for this year because it's disgusting what I've seen out there on the field on behalf of his coaching and his staff. Now, let me ask you something. Here's a two-part question for you. Blake James. One, how do you think this conversation's gone between these two? What do you think Blake James is demanding? And the second part is, if you're Blake James, what would you demand?
It's interesting. I don't know what Blake James demands. I don't know what Blake James really knows about football and really knows about the game and if he's the kind of guy who could have that conversation. I look at Blake James as a fundraiser, a guy who has spent his entire career raising money for an athletic program. There's a difference. There's a difference between being a money guy and there's a difference between being a sports guy. And I think, in terms of being a money guy, Blake James has been a slam dunk, right? He's gotten all these deals done. He's raised money for the university. He's got all these new buildings. As far as a guy who hires head coaches and knows what it takes to win championships, I don't know where that experience comes from. I mean, what championships has he won, as an athletic director or being around the game? He's always been a money guy. So I think, really the conversation that's happening is, hey, 6-6, we got a lot of people yelling at us and screaming at us and people who give us money who aren't happy. What do we got to do to fix this? I don't know that Blake James necessarily knows the answer. I don't know that Blake James has a list of.
Whoa, there we lose
hand Manny Diaz. I just think he's going to him saying, "Hey, man, how do we fix this?" And it's going to be up to Manny to figure it out.
Interesting stuff, man. I got to tell you. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. The thing that I would say has been amazing is that they have kept this class together. Now, knowing that this class has been together, tell us a little bit about Tyler Van Dyke, because We just talked about Jaron Williams and maybe his lack of maturity, and you talked about N'Kosi Perry, maybe after the game not necessarily caring as much. And obviously Tate Martell is in the answer, and he's having his issues. Tell us a little bit about Van Dyke and any other recruit that could be possibly coming.
Yeah, well, I mean, Van Dyke is certainly an interesting prospect. I got a chance to see him at Paradise Camp when they, the summer camp where they invite all the top prospects down, and he was throwing passes.
Wicked arm.
To the big.
Wicked arm. Wicked arm, dude.
Wicked arm. Yeah, ridiculous arm strength. I talked to his high school coach last week, Drew Gamir, and the kid's just a winner. Like he led his baseball team to a state championship up here in Connecticut. This year they went 9-0. He plays on multiple teams. I like the fact that I like kids who play multiple sports. So I don't know about you, but I like the fact that this guy doesn't just win in football, but he wins in baseball too. It was like the pitcher of the year. So to me, look, I know a lot of people have come up and seen him. They think he's a top 10 quarterback in this signing class in terms of nationally. So if he's got all the goods and he's a leader, then maybe he's going to be the guy that transforms that quarterback room and takes Miami where it needs to go. And maybe that's what ends up saving Dan Enos' job. I don't know. We'll see. As far as other guys in the class, I mean, look, they've got some good offensive players. The two running backs, Don Chaney Jr. from Belen and Jalen Knighton from Deerfield Beach, who they got last week. Both of those guys, I think, instantly come in and upgrade the running back position, which, we can talk about DJ Dallas and Cam Harris and those guys. But, to me, Jalen Knighton and Chaney are elite backs. They're guys that are – you need that kind of depth because as nice a kid as Robert Burns is, and he can run north and south, he doesn't have that explosive factor that Don Chaney Jr. has, or sort of the physicality, like, the wear and tear that this kid, Knighton has. He ran for over 5,000 yards in his career at Deerfield. So, I like the running back group. I like the quarterback group. Some of the receivers, that they've recruited. Michael Redding's a kid out of IMG Academy, who, is consensus like top 20 receiver nationally. That's a position that I look at and I still think, yes, D. Wiggins showed flashes, but what more can you get out of him here? Because he's got the frame, he's got the speed, he's got all the gifts you want, but the inconsistency is what kills me about that kid. Obviously the tight end, they recruited this kid Dominic Mamarelli out of Naples. He's a good, is a good, solid recruit, good blocking tight end, a guy who I think is going to, you just keep adding depth, behind Brevin Jordan and Will Mallory, guys that are going to be, I think, good players by the time they're sophomore and juniors, ready to contribute, So, and then the offensive line, Jalen Rivers is a big-time kid out of Orange Park, Oak Leaf. He's a 4-star offensive lineman. To me, he's the Von Donaldson with more want to and more skills. Like, that's what I look at. He's a big-bodied kid. He's 6'5", like 350-something. He's a big kid. He's obviously going to, being in the weight room with Miami, he's going to lose weight. But the one thing I like about him, his dad, he comes from a Navy background. And his dad, has really been strict on him, helped him lose weight before, helped him, get in tremendous shape. So, he's a good player. They've got guys, and they're going to keep adding here. And certainly defense as well. There's some good recruits here that they've signed. So, I like the class. It's ranked, I think, 14th right now by 247 Sports in terms of like the consensus average. And there's, like I said, there's good players in it, and hopefully there's really good leaders. I think that's the thing that Miami needs more than anything else.
You said that maybe Manny goes in to talk to Enos. Any chance he makes a change with Enos?
Personally, I don't think so. I know fans want that, but I think Enos, obviously, there were some things that he did that improved the play of the quarterback. Was the offensive play calling good? No, not when you finish 130th in third down conversions and somewhere in the 90s in red zone touchdown percentage. I mean, it was pretty bad. But again, does Manny look at it simply as a personnel issue and a maturity issue? Like, some of these offensive linemen have to grow up. You got to give them a chance, with the players that he recruits, type of thing. probably does. And I think if you see any changes, it might be a position coach or two who maybe didn't do a great job recruiting, or who, maybe Manny didn't see enough improvement of the current players. But I don't think he's going to make any changes at either coordinator spot.
All right, good stuff there. I know you're on the road. You kind of told us, so I guess repeat it. What are you working on The Athletic so the folks can check you out at The Athletic MIA?
Yeah, well, look, man, I'm in the Northeast visiting a couple different recruits up here. I'm also covering the Heat. I was in Brooklyn for the Nets game the other night and just wrote a story on Justice Winslow. And I'll be in Boston tomorrow night for the Celtics game, so I will have some Heat coverage for you if you're a Heat fan. As far as the Canes, lots of recruiting. Tyreek Austin Cave, who's a linebacker out of New Jersey, is one of the two linebacker commits right now. I expect a third. Jesus Machado out of Hialeah Champagnat will be committing probably on signing day, so they'll have a third linebacker. And they still got a chance at Justin Flo, so maybe four. But anyway, Tyreek Austin Cave, I'll have a feature story on him sometime this week. I got a chance to talk to him and his dad. They live in Camden, New Jersey. And then, of course, at some point here soon, Tyler Van Dyke, I'll do a write-up on this quarterback recruit. And my plan when I go back home is to try to hit a couple in-state recruits, probably those guys in the Jacksonville area, Jalen Rivers, etc., to catch up with them before they play in the Under Armour game. And then we'll have bowl practices and everything else. So I'll be busy, man. December's a very busy month between recruiting and the bowl game and coaching changes and whatever else is going to happen. So stay tuned for all your updates. You can follow me on Twitter. I do a lot of my stuff there. But if you want to read some stories, definitely subscribe to The Athletic. I know we've had some deals of late. I think we had 60% off on Cyber Monday. And I know that we've got more deals here coming up, 40% off, etc. For a subscription. It's worth it, man, because
it's a joke.
We cover it all.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
It's a joke. Yep. You get so much coverage. It's crazy. Dude, I'm so old that when I was in private school back in the late 70s, I used to play against Champagnat in track, volleyball, chess, when they had that little school in Hialeah that only had a basketball court. That's it, dude. It was like a two-floor building that was like an apartment complex, and they just made it into a school. You remember that, Champagnat?
That was down the street from my school, St. John's on East 4th.
Right, on East 4th, exactly. Yes. Yes.
Because we were on East 4th and 6th Street, and they were like on East 4th on the other side of what is Sedano's, like 10th or 11th.
Yeah, dude, where is Champagnat? Because if they play football, they got to have a field now. Back in those days, they didn't have anything, bro. They were just like they had a volleyball, basketball court. That's all they had. We were surprised when we would play them in, race and track, because we were at South Florida Military Academy right off of Lejeune and Northwest 7th, but we had a big ass field. We had a baseball field. We had basketball courts. All that. Hell, I played roller hockey with the private school. Okay, roller hockey. All right, which is crazy. But anyway, I'm just. Where is Champagnat now?
It's still there in the middle of Hialeah. It's a one-floor building, and yet again, one little concrete basketball court. That's all it has. I mean, I went there to go talk to Jalen Harrell, the four-star safety commit that Miami has. Of course, they produced Gregory Rousseau 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So Champagnat's become like the University of Miami feeder program here the last couple of years.
Well, wait a minute, dude. So where the hell do they practice? Where do they play? What is it?
They go to a lot of different places. The Mylander. I mean, they're everywhere. They play 10 regular season road games, and this week they're in the state championship. By the way, they're playing.
So they've never moved. They never moved from that little building.
It's not a two-floor building. It's probably not the same building that you went to, but it is a small building, one-floor building, in the middle of Hialeah, like in a strip mall type area.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it's definitely a different one because it wasn't a strip mall. I remember that. It was on the corner. I remember. If I remember correctly. I
can tell you, they were right on the corner. The Sedano's now is on the corner. There was the barber shop, and my buddy Acebo Roofing was on 10th, and it was like on 11th or 12th, right on the corner.
That's crazy, dude. That is crazy stuff. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro. Manny, you're the best, my brother. Thank you for joining us every week like you always do.
Thanks for having me on. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that stuff. We'll talk soon.
You
Be
got it,
safe
baby.
in your travels, bro.
Be safe. There you go.
All right, thanks.
You got it. We'll get them back next week again. You get it every week here on the program, man. Only place you're going to get a Canes report like that. That's it. Only here every week. And we thank, of course, the great people at Caneswear, Brett, and all the amazing people at Bill's favorite place on planet Earth, Caneswear. He loves that place. He loves when we go there every single time.
I'm actually starting to hate it, man, because there's so much stuff I want. It's like, and you can only buy so many things.
I know. But you could just go crazy in that place.
It's like a shrine to UM. If you're a Canes fan, you got to go there.
Yeah, because you can't imagine everything in the world has a logo with UM on it. And he has it inside that store pretty much. It's awesome. You need a toilet that has the U on it. He probably has it somewhere. Not the toilet seat, the toilet itself. Brett could probably get it for you. Seriously.